A very special good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to the People's Forum of In the Streets with Big Stone. I cannot imagine that the president of the Returnees Association had to come to grips with himself and make this very important announcement. It makes no sense, he said. President of the Jamaica Association for the Resettlement of Returning Residents, Percival LaTouche, is urging Jamaicans overseas not to come home. According to LaTouche, who spent over 30 years in the United Kingdom from 1958 until the early 1990s, when he resettled in the land of his birth. It makes no sense you spend 20, 30, or 40 years overseas working hard only to return home for people to kill you. LaTouche made the comments to the newspaper on Tuesday while reacting to the murder of returning resident 44-year-old Karen Clearly, whose body was found buried in a shallow grave on a property in Bascobel, St. Mary on Monday afternoon. Clearly was born in Jamaica but had lived in England for 20 years, had been building her dream home in the country of her birth when she went missing on November 25th. Her body was found wrapped in a tarpaulin in a hole which had been covered with a layer of concrete and dirt. A post-mortem will be done to determine the cause of death. News of the brutal demise has already hit the foreign media and comes just days after the body of 72-year-old American Nancy Hardy was found in a shallow grave in Hanover last Wednesday, 4 days after she had been reported missing. Hardy was of Amherst, Massachusetts, in the United States, and Phase 3 Whitehall in Negril, Westmoreland. LaTouche told the newspaper that dozens of homes built by returning residents are locked up as they have moved back to overseas because they are fearful of being targeted. He said there are some 60 such houses in the Mandeville area alone, and returnees have lost confidence in the ability of the security forces to protect them. According to LaTouche, returning residents of Retreat and Prospect in St. Thomas are under siege from robbers. The people them can't come out of them house, he said. Having started one of the first such association for returning residents in Jamaica 25 years ago, and having personally attended over 160 funerals for returning residents, many of them murdered victims, LaTouche is now at his wits' end as to what should be done to address the problem. And is not holding back in going after the leadership of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, which he accused of being inept. LaTouche slammed Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson, claiming that the most decisive action the top cop has made since he was appointed to the job 9 months ago is to go after the public defender. He described members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force hierarchy as being bereft of ideas and paying lip service to the plight of returning residents. Despite an overall 21% reduction in murders this year, when compared to 2017, LaTouche charged that the police have not done enough to reduce homicides, in particular of returning residents. This, he said, is a failure on the part of Anderson. He said 11 returning residents have been killed since the start of the year, an average of one each month. As it relates to a special task force that was announced in July to address the situation, LaTouche has dismissed it as a joke. It is pure politics in it. It is not going anywhere. I went to one meeting and I realized this is rubbish, so I haven't gone back. All we can hear is pure chat and more chat, LaTouche told the newspaper. In July, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade announced the establishment of a task force to address security and safety concerns related to returning residents and their holistic reintegration into the Jamaican society. It said the task force would be chaired by State Minister Pernell Charles Jr. and would compromise returning residents, the Ministry of Diaspora Affairs Department, and the Jamaica Constabulary Force. In its own statement, the Jamaica Constabulary Force committed to assisting returnees to vet persons they engaged to work for them. It is reported that clearly and several others may have fallen victim to the very persons they had employed to work on their homes. The Jamaica Constabulary Force said at the time that the safety and security of returning residents remained a high priority and strategies and support systems were being bolstered for their protection. According to the Jamaica Constabulary Force, meetings will be held regularly at the divisional level to enhance the sharing of important information. Following the killing of two returnees from the United Kingdom, 71-year-old Florence and 74-year-old Alfred Anderson, in June, the Guardian newspaper reported that Jamaican expats who returned home after decades in the United Kingdom face an extreme risk of murder. The newspaper was quoting a senior retired member of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. The newspaper also reported that 85 Britons, Americans, and Canadians were killed in Jamaica since 2012. The Andersons had only recently retired to Jamaica, where Charlie was born, when they were fatally stabbed and their bodies burned following a firebomb attack on their dream home in Mount Pleasant in the parish of Portland. That double murder following the killing in April of 63-year-old Birmingham charity worker Delra Walker in Baskerville, St. Mary. In January, 81-year-old Melbourne Flake and his 70-year-old wife Etta, both of retreat in St. Thomas and who were returning from Canada, were found dead in their home in the parish. Two persons are before the court in connections to those killings. It saddens my heart, ladies and gentlemen, to learn of the fact that after you spend many years in the winter cold of the United States and Canada and the UK, saving up your last earned dollar to come back to the sun, the sea, and the sand, to spend your retiring days in a country that you was born, it saddened my heart. Jamaica, we need to get together, not just the lip service and the talk, and no actions, and put into effect system that will work to protect the Jamaican people. Foreigners, I can also tell you, instead of you employing, and which is sad for me to say, because our poor people, our young masons and builders and so on, there are honest masons and builders here that will work for you and not kill you over pettiness. Most of these killings, ladies and gentlemen, are also results of wage negotiation, money owed as they claim, or is it just pure and simple bad mind? The Minister of Health stated that a lot of Jamaicans are insane. We need to address that. Insanity plays a role in most of what is happening in Jamaica. And if we don't take it seriously and address it accordingly, more people are going to die. Mr. Prime Minister, this is your call. Minister of Health, this is your call. The Ministry of Education, this is your call. The Ministry of National Security, this is your call. The Jamaica Constabulary Force Head and the military head, this is your call. Get your boots on the ground. Start digging deep to find out the problems and make sure we can fix these problems before they become a reality. We're into solutions, not picking up the body parts in shallow grave. What is it about this shallow grave? What is it about? Does a shallow grave incite ones to just think of that, conjure that thought in their head and just go out and kill people and bury them in a shallow grave? Watch it. We need to get a hold of ourselves here in Jamaica. It no look good, none at all. Thank you very much for watching, and I do hope you can have a great day. Thank you.